Hello, hello. We are live. Welcome to Cooking with Chef Frank. My name is Frank Kramer. I'm the host of this cooking show, and today I'm introducing cooking for large families. Again, I'm the founder of Eat Like a Vegan Chef, and I teach people how to stop dieting and adopt a whole food plant-based diet. So welcome to today's Cooking with Chef Frank, and I'm so excited today. Actually, we had a questionnaire going out by email, and I was asking for your help, and most of you said that you would like to see how to cook for a large family. So, and that's what I'm doing today. Okay, I see everyone is coming in already. Hi, Mary. Hi, Devonda. Hi, Dicey. Hi, Liana. Hi, Jacqueline. Hi, Joanne. Wow, you're coming in fast. Hi, Dicey. Hi, Jacqueline. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so again, for those of you who just joined, I am going to cook or present to you how I would cook for a large family. Hi, Sue. And so you get an idea how to cook on a budget. I think it's very, very important that, especially in these times, COVID times, it is so important, in particular for large families and large and small families alike, but that you cook nutritious, and that's so important. That's why I have two very simple dishes. What I'm going to cook today, I do cook a black bean soup today, and I'm going to cook a brown rice with beans, topped with kale, peppers, and mushrooms. So both meals are nutritious. Both meals are complete. So from that point of view, it is very important for you that when you cook for a large family and you don't want to include animal products, that you cook nutritiously. So that's very, very important. Again, hi Justin, hi Mary, hi Vicky, hi Beth, hi Nancy, hi Barbara. Okay, so from that point of view, it's so important that you cook with all the nutrients in there, what your body needs. Of course, we all have families where some of our family members don't eat only vegan food. So they want their piece of meat or their chicken or their piece of fish, and that's fine. So from that point of view, it is very, very important that when you yourself trying to adopt a plant-based lifestyle, you have to, in a way, you have to look at it a little bit selfish, so to speak, because you don't want to cook two separate meals. Because first of all, that's very expensive, and secondly, it's you want to make sure you save money, but you also cook with all the nutrients you need for both, or for all the partners, or for all the family members. So what I'm saying is that when you cook for two separate family members who are eating totally different styles, what I'm saying is that first you have to make sure that when you cook for yourself, that you have all the nutrients in your food. And then you can add whatever animal foods, steak, chicken, fish, whatever it is, for your family members, the other family members who don't eat just vegan foods. So from that point of view, at one point, when you cook like this on a daily basis, they will question themselves, if she or he is going to eat only her vegetables and she omits all the animal products, how is she surviving? How can she be healthy this way? So at one point, those other family members, they think, why am I eating my steak or chicken when my doctor just told me that my cholesterol is high. So at one point, they would all think about it and see how good you feel. Your weight is going down, but theirs don't. So at one point, they will join you. That point, I don't know when this is, but very often it's sooner than you think. On the other hand is you want to inspire everyone else in your family that you can eat healthy. Obviously, you cannot force anyone to eat your food. So that is all done by inspiring them, by the way you eat and by the way, you feel and by the way you evolve after weeks and months. So that's so important in my opinion. Okay, so hi Stacy, hi Pamela, hi Anjana. So that's very important. Then on top of that, we want to make sure that we stay on a budget. There's so many families right now who are suffering because when you have a family of 5, 6, 7 people, they all eat. So you want to make sure you eat a meal that is nutritious, but also on a budget. So what I'm doing today is I'm cooking a black bean soup, and I'm cooking rice with a white rice with beans, topped with kale, mushrooms, and peppers. So this meal combined doesn't even cost $10. Doesn't even cost $10, and you could feed easily a family of 6 or 7. Obviously, there's different. Every day you have to cook something different, but you can, when you go at, for instance, Costco, BJ's, wherever it is, you can buy in bulk. You can buy your brown rice in bulk. You can get your beans in bulk. You can get dry beans. For instance, dry beans, 1 pound, you can get it for under $1, and that 1 whole pound easily feeds 4, 5 people. Then you have your rice. You get, I got my rice, my white rice. It's very simple. It's unfortunately it's not organic. I prefer organic, but not everyone can afford organic. So that's why I bought the regular one. That was under $1. And so it's you can literally do it. So, and very often we have families of 3 or 4. So that meal would probably last you for 2 days. And depending where you shop, you get in bulk, get everything in bulk, and you could literally cook for a family of 6 or 7 people. You could literally cook for under $10. So just imagine you go to a restaurant. How much would you spend for a family of 6 or 7? You would spend $200 easily. It depends where you go, right? So I remember when I went to Fridays or those family restaurants, family of 4, I always spent $100, $90, $100. So from that point of view, you can cook for $10 for a family of 4, 5, 6 people, and it's possible. Hi Yvette. Good, wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to start cooking and stop talking. So I'm going to start with the rice because it's going to take a while. Obviously, I always cook without oil. So we're going to cook the rice first. And the rice is very, very simple. I'm going to saute first onions, celery, tomatoes, and peppers. Then I'm going to add my beans, then the rice, and now let it cook, simmer for about 40 minutes or so. And then in the meanwhile, I'm going to cook everything else. So hopefully we're going to be done by in 40, 45 minutes with everything, because the way I usually cook is, I cook whatever takes the longest time first, so that once the rice is finished, everything else is finished. And I don't cook thing at a time. So that's not how we chef cooks. How we chefs cook. Okay, this is my vegetables here. Okay, no oil. Going to add just a little bit of water to it. I'm going to saute it on medium to high heat. Okay. So meanwhile, I get my rice ready. So by sauteing the onions and the peppers and the celery, I extract some of the flavors out of these vegetables. That will intensify the flavor of the rice, the whole dish. Okay, I just want to get them translucent. And once that's happened, I'm going to add my beans and my spices. Okay, good. So this is about enough. I'm going to add my beans. I use pinto beans. You can use any beans you want. Black beans, kidney beans, white beans, whatever you like. Black eye beans. Okay. Going to add a little bit of water again, just to keep it moist. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one cup of rice, like measuring it. I'm going to just rinse the rice under water, because if I rinse it now, if I rinse the rice now, I don't have to rinse it later. Because if I rinse it later, then all my nutrients are going to be lost. So I wash my rice. I'm going to add this to it. Okay. I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of cumin to it. And 1/4 teaspoon of chili powder. And that's it. And a little bit of oregano. So that's my base for my rice. Okay, that's how it looks right now. Now I'm going to add 2 cups of water to it, maybe a little more. 1, 2. Okay. I'm going to add just a little bit of salt to it. You don't have to add salt, that's completely up to you. Okay. I'm going to put it on the back burner. I'd like to bring it up to a boil, and then I'll simmer it on low temperature. Good. So that's it. The rice is taken care of. Let's bring it to a boil, and then we'll bring down the temperature. Okay, so let me see. Hi, Debbie. So you're asking what I'm making. Okay, today for all of those who just joined, I'm cooking for large families on a budget. Today I chose just two simple dishes. One is a white rice with beans, topped with kale, peppers, and mushrooms, and the other one is black bean soup. So two very simple dishes, but combined they are complete. Just imagine whenever you add two vegetables, that makes one complete protein. For instance, rice and beans is the dream couple. That's why in many regions in this world, people only eat rice and beans, and they have no chronic diseases because rice and beans is a complete protein. So, remember when I said a third of starchy vegetables is a third of non-starchy vegetables and a third of green leafy vegetables? That makes a complete nutritious meal. That's what we're going to cook today. So that's why I'm cooking the kale today. Kale is extremely nutritious, very nutritious. That combined with some peppers, mushrooms, onions, combined with the rice is that's a perfect meal. Okay, and all of that was under $10. Just imagine, you have to cook for a family of 6 or 7 people. Then obviously the kale is not enough, so you probably have to get one more kale, but everything else should be enough. Oh, good. Let's see if we have any questions. Happy Thursday, everyone. Yes. Okay. Okay, Liana saying she revealed that I used no oil. That said, it's delicious, and they couldn't tell the difference. Wonderful. I'm amazed that I don't need oil to cook with. Yep. I always wash my rice before cooking. Yes, very good. Are you using dry beans? No, I'm not, Liana. I'm using beans from a can. So, but that said, if you use dry beans, what you can do is there's okay, my rice is boiling, so I'm going to turn it down to low, medium to low. Okay, so what you can do is you can use your dry beans, boil them in water for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then cover them and let them sit for an hour. That way, you can use them right away. You don't have to soak them overnight. Okay, you can, it's up to you. You can put them in a bowl with water, soak them overnight, and even switch the water. That's fine too. But you can also boil it for 2-3 minutes, set it aside, change the water. Rinse them, and then you going to use it in the black bean soup or in the rice meal. Okay, let's see. Okay, that is saying, what was the first thing that you added before the ghee? I don't add ghee. I don't cook with butter. I don't cook with oil or fat. Then, did you use the kale leaves only? No, I chop everything in. I don't mind the crunchiness in there because it's all healthy. Why am I throwing out the stems? Yes, the end of the stem, the very last end, yes, that I throw out. But everything else I use. But it's up to you. Especially kids, they don't like the stems. So for them, you can take off the leaves only. But for me, I eat it all. Doesn't matter. Okay. Jacqueline is saying, I love cooking with cast iron skillets. I was just thinking of how complete proteins were made together earlier this week. This is a great balanced dish. Yeah, and it's so simple. It is simple and it's cheap. That's why, when you think about the blue zones, they are, these are people who are, live in regions where they're very often they're in the mountains and they don't have the resources what we have, and they cook very simple dishes. And if they eat animal products, they really only flavor the dish with the broth of the animal products. So let's say if they would eat for 4 people, they would put 2 drumsticks in just to flavor the food, and then obviously they would eat the drumsticks. But as long as you get 5% or less from animal protein in your diet, you're good to go. It's not like that you have to that everyone in your family has to let go of animal products. But if you eat less than 5%, you don't have to worry that you can develop any kind of serious sicknesses from those. Again, I cannot make those claims. You can look it up at the China study. Dr. Campbell, he's talking about it. If you keep your animal products under 5%, that's fine. Obviously, I choose not to eat any, but that's up to everyone else. Okay. The 3 things he added to the rice. Okay. To the rice, I added onion, tomatoes, celery, and some peppers, and then beans. So I sauteed them first. I add the rice. I washed the rice first. Then I added 1 cup of rice, 2 cups of water, and I added cumin, a little chili, a little oregano, and a tiny little bit of salt. You don't have to add salt, but that's what I did. So now it should cook about 40 minutes or so. You can actually get a rice from Trader Joe that only cooks 15 minutes, and it's a brown rice. I bought this in a regular supermarket here, and it's a regular brown rice, and that cooks 45 minutes. But you can get one at Trader Joe, it cooks in 15 minutes. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, Ajana is asking, what exactly are processed foods? Aren't canned beans or canned veggies not processed? No, they're not. How can we use them? Okay, when a processed food is something what you put in a factory, and you do something to it that it doesn't look the way it was before. So for instance, the beans, whether they're dry or in a can, they look the same way. They were just cooked, so it remains a whole food. It's minimally processed, but it's still considered a whole food, whether it's cooked whether it's pre-cooked or raw. That is still a whole food. What is a processed food? White flour is a processed food. When white flour is made from the whole grain. The whole grain is peeled. The outer layers are peeled of the whole grain. In the outer layer, you have all your vitamins, and they basically have been thrown out. All the fibers are in the outer layers, so they take them off. Then they are left with the white inside of the grain. This is being dried, milled, and then bleached. That's why flour is white. Usually flour is brownish, but the white flour is white because it's bleached on top of that. So this is a highly processed food. The problem is that the reason why they do this is because they are making it in such a way that it extends the shelf life. That's why people or the companies process food. That flour is being used in so many applications, whether it's white bread, cakes. It's in so many other ingredients, and it's not good for you. It definitely is inflammatory. It doesn't help your body to stay healthy. So you want to avoid these. On top of that, the companies add all kind of vitamins to those white flours just to make up what they previously had taken away. So it makes no sense. So why shouldn't I stay with the whole wheat, right? You stay with the whole wheat. They don't add vitamins to it because the vitamins are in there. So that's why it's so important to stick with whole grains. So that's the difference between whole food and processed food. Anything, whatever you see in the shelf and it doesn't look like the fruit or the vegetable how it looked before, that's processed. Almost 90% in a supermarket is processed. If you go to your produce aisle, that's all whole food. You don't have to worry, that's all whole food for 99%. You go into different shelves, you go to the bread aisle, 90% of those breads are highly processed. So there's only a few breads which we still consider whole food, which is Ezekiel bread, and there are some other breads. But, sprouted grain breads, these are still considered whole grain bread, even though they are processed. Okay. Okay, Barbara's asking, what can you do to cook with whole wheat kernels? Well, you can mill them yourself if you want. You can add them as a side dish. You can make so many things from that. So I don't want to get too much in this because I need to cook my kale before my rice is ready. What about other flours like cassava, chickpea? Are they also processed or okay to use? No, they're okay to use. Chickpea flour is one of the best flours you can use. That's for sure, because chickpea, nothing is added to it and nothing is removed from the chickpeas. As I said, as long as the whole fruit or vegetable or grain is being used and just grind, it's okay. But if you use the brown grain, I mean the whole grain, and then you took the outer layers off, now it becomes a processed food. But as long as you leave the entire whole grain in, it remains, it's not a whole food anymore, but it's considered still healthy. For instance, you can eat chickpea pasta. Excellent. It's gluten-free, it's full of protein, and it's as soon as you mix it with other vegetables, it becomes a whole grain a whole protein, a complete protein. So definitely black bean pasta, excellent. That's just been milled and made to a pasta. You can use those, definitely. They're slightly processed, but they still have all their nutrients in there. So that's the difference. There's a fundamental difference between white flour and then the foods we eat, like black bean pasta, black bean chickpea pasta and stuff like that. I'm not saying you should eat it every day, but you can definitely, it's healthier than pasta, regular pasta. That's for sure, hands down. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But here's the thing. If you're in the weight loss program, I still suggest, stay away from those flours, because they have a lot of calories. They're good, but if you want to lose weight, you want to stick with whole foods, complete whole foods. That's how you lose the most weight. As soon as you add even slightly processed foods, that changes scenario. So that's what I'm saying. As long as you do the weight loss program, stick with the super ingredients. Stick without the super ingredients. Okay, so no oil, no sugar, no animal products, no alcohol, no animal products. Did I repeat myself? And no processed foods. So I know I just said that chickpeas is slightly processed, and it still fits in a whole food plant-based lifestyle, absolutely. But when you want to lose weight, you want to stay whole. That is the only thing I would say to it. But obviously, you have a large family, absolutely. Use these things. They might be a little bit more expensive than regular pasta, but it's worth it. It's definitely worth it because that becomes your steak. Those chickpea pasta have a lot of protein in there, and so you don't have to worry that you end up losing in nutrition. You actually add nutrition to it by using chickpea pasta or black bean pasta. And for instance, black bean pasta looks beautiful when you use it with red peppers and all these colors. Okay, good. Okay, it's okay for me to have an avocado. I'm doing. Yeah, as I said, I would omit the fatty foods for now in order to maximize your weight loss. You can, once you have stabilized your weight loss and you are at a point where you say, okay, I lost whatever amount of pounds and I'm comfortable with this, then I would say, okay, now you can eat once a week an avocado or twice a week. You don't want to do it too much because as soon as you go back to your old eating style, you will gain the weight back. You don't want that. So you want to stick with a whole food plant-based diet and just, very slowly increase those fatty foods. I know that soy is very, very healthy, in particular for women. There have been tons of studies out there now. I know there's a few studies out there what claim that soy is not good for you, but there's an overwhelming evidence that soy is healthy for you, especially for women. How can I cook buckwheat flour? Buckwheat flour, you can use it the same way you use whole wheat flour. The same way is actually even better. I have a buckwheat pizza in the recipes in the module, and that is made with buckwheat, as it comes out beautiful. I prefer to cook with buckwheat flour, definitely. Should we eat whole wheat or multigrain? Go with whole wheat. Multigrain is most of the time not whole grain. They say it's multigrain, but it doesn't mean that it is whole grain. So always make sure that your bread is whole grain. But that said, if you go with whole grain bread, 80% of all whole grain bread are highly, highly processed foods. So I would be very, very careful. If you want to eat bread, stick with Ezekiel bread. I know it's expensive, but that's the only bread what has complete protein, and it's made from whole grains. So that's very important. Okay, thanks for stopping by, Stacy. Thank you. Good. See you in the Facebook land. Yes. Have a good day. Good. Any other question here before I start to cook? Yeah, I know. Justin, you got me there. How to keep pasta from sticking. You have to, when you cook your pasta, you want to make sure that you cook both at the same time. So what I'm saying is you cook your pasta all the way to the end. You make your sauce. When your sauce is almost ready, then you start cooking the pasta. And what I realized is actually, and that's phenomenal, chickpea pasta doesn't stick. So that's really, really cool. So you could cook your pasta, put it in the fridge, and it doesn't stick. At least it didn't stick with me. was so it didn't stick when I was cooking it. But if you cook a regular pasta, take what I usually do is I take a cup of the water, put it in the sauce just to give it the flavor of the pasta. I drain the pasta, and then I mix the sauce with the pasta so you don't have the issue. That's the only thing I can say. Pasta will stick. That's the thing. I mean, you can add a drop of oil to it if you want, but you know, that's forfeits the whole purpose what we do. But you know, a drop of oil is not going to kill you. But on the other hand, if you mix it with the sauce, you're good to go. You can put it in the fridge, and the only problem is the pasta will absorb the sauce, and it becomes all a little mushy. So when I would cook the pasta and the sauce, I do it exactly this way, and I eat it. That's how I do it. There's, you know, cooking oil free. Sometimes it's a little tricky, but with chickpea, I realized that they don't stick. You let me know if you have a different experience. Okay. Okay. What if we don't make a sauce? I cooked some rice noodles this week. Instructions to rinse with cold water immediately when done to prevent sticking. I didn't know this was good for the pasta. No, you can do it. I mean, you will lose some of the ingredients, but I mean nutrients. But that's what you have to do. There's no choice. Okay, let me finish cooking here. I think I'm talking too much, and my rice is. Okay, that's ready. Wow, this looks beautiful. Let me see if it's ready. No. You see, very often I went exactly by the measurements, what the packaging is saying, and it doesn't work. I put 2 cups of water to 1 cup of rice, and my water is completely evaporated, completely. So very often you cannot go like that. And I'm doing it for you, so to see. When I cook for myself, I cook very different. I saute the rice, and then I pour water in until I have about this much, like my finger, where my first, I don't know what you call this here, this much water, and that's always perfect. It always works out. But when you go by the packaging instructions, it's always different, very different. Let's fill up my water here. So probably add another cup. Okay, so let me start with my kale. Otherwise, I'm gonna get ready here. Actually, right now I'm cooking my black bean soup. Yeah. Good. Yeah. So the thing is, you can see my recipes on Culinarian. That's true. I had no other choice but to keep my recipes there because they're the only one where the recipes are. You can change the varieties or the amount of servings you have, but you also can print it out, and so that's the only software I see I could use with my membership. But eventually, once I get my own recipe software, all the recipe will be, I mean, there will be move to the membership area. Okay, good. This is for the black bean soup. And I have my onions, peppers, garlic, celery, tomatoes. Put it all in here. Gonna let it saute a little bit until it's translucent. Then I add a little bit of water to it to keep it moist. Good. I don't know what you guys have a conversation. Is it about the recipes or? Okay. So I'm going to add a little bit of water to it. Stir the rice. Okay, so for the black bean soup, I'm going to add half a teaspoon of chili powder, half a teaspoon of chili powder, cumin. I want to let the water evaporate, and then I'm going to add my beans. I just want to wait until I smell the spices. That will open up the flavors of the spices and give me a better flavor for the soup overall. Okay. Okay, so you see here, these are my, I don't know if you can see this, my vegetables. Now I'm adding my beans to it. And then I'm going to add, you can use broth or you can use water. It's entirely up to you. Cover the beans. And now I'm going to let it cook for about between 25 and 30 minutes. It depends. You know, black bean soup, you can always cook longer, but you have to make sure you have enough water in there or broth. I'm going to bring it up to a boil and then I'll turn it down. I'm adding a little bit of salt to it. And later I'm going to add some black pepper. Okay, so that's all for the black bean soup. I usually would put in a bay leaf, but I don't have any bay leaves here. So that I would actually add to it. Good. Okay, Liana must go. Okay, thank you so much for stopping by. Pamela, I've been doing my rice using the finger measurement. Yes, that's exactly how I do it. Not sure it works the same way for brown rice. Yeah, you need a little bit more water. Okay, no other questions. Good. Okay, this is first Thursday show of yours I have seen. Really? Uh, is there any way of seeing the previous one? Yeah, absolutely. They're all stored. When you go to Eat Like a Vegan Chef, the page, Eat Like a Vegan Chef, go to videos, and they're all there. So there's quite a lot of them. Actually, I mean, this is my 17th. Yep. Good. My rice is almost ready. Okay. I'm going to let this cook right here. And now I'm going to cook my kale. Good. Any other questions? No, not right now. Okay, good. So for the kale, you know, as you realize today, I'm cooking with this mixture here. I saw this in a supermarket. They have onions, tomatoes, peppers. It's all ready, cut and ready. I said, you know what? I'll use that. Makes my life easier. So this is what I'm going to add to the pan. Again, for anyone who just joined, I'm cooking a meal for a large family, or basically I touch base how to cook for a large family. For instance, today's meal I could cook for $10 basically, and I could feed a family of 4 or 5 or maybe even 6. But there are other dishes you can cook. So for instance, peas, for instance, green peas, yellow peas, they cost less than $1 a pound, and you can easily feed a family of 4 with a pound of peas, depending what what application you do. But you can cook a vegan lasagna, and you don't even have to use those processed vegan cheeses. You can make your own vegan cheese. It's not as gooey as those processed vegan cheeses, but they come pretty close. You can do a vegan ziti, baked ziti. You can cook a chili. A chili is one of the best nutritious and cheapest meals you can cook for a family, for a large family. For instance, you could literally cook a big pot of chili for under $10, and it's gonna last you for 2 days easily. All you need is, if you cook it from dry beans, you put a black bean, kidney beans, and pinto beans, for instance. So that's 3 pounds of beans. Then you add 1 or 2 peppers, 1 or 2 onions, some chilies if you want, the spices, and tomatoes, obviously, either crushed tomatoes or diced tomatoes. And that is under $10. And you can get a big pot. That makes you at least 6-7 pounds of food. And that's going to last you 2-3 days. You can serve this over pasta, and there you go. You have an even more heavier meal. Okay. Add a little bit of water to it. See, this time I'm caramelizing my. I don't know if you can see this. Caramelizing my onion, so it gets a little bit brownish. So I add flavor to it. Now I'm adding my mushrooms. right. Good. Obviously, I'm only cooking for myself here, so that's why this is obviously not for a family of 6 or 4. So I'm just cooking for myself. But instead of using the entire mushroom container, I only use like 4 mushrooms for myself. But if you cook for a big family, you use the whole container of mushrooms, which is $3 in the supermarket. You have your onions, your tomatoes, um, and your peppers. That's not even $2. What I have in here. Then I have my kale. I spent how much was it? 2 something, and it's organic kale. So this is one whole bunch, but it's gonna cook down to nothing. So you could buy another one of this, and that will be enough for a family of 4. And obviously my peppers, let's put them in. I only use a half a pepper. So if you buy 1 or 2 peppers, so the entire meal is definitely under $10. And kale is not really cheap. You could use any other green leafy vegetable, Swiss chard, collard greens. That's fine. But collard greens you have to cook down. That needs a lot more cooking. Okay, let's check my rice. Almost there. I'm going to add a little bit of water. Keep it moist. See how it's caramelizing? I don't know if you can see it. It's beautiful. And that's where the flavor comes in. Okay. Thanks, Jackie. She likes my vegan chili. Jacqueline is saying she loves vegan cheese. I made with your recipe. Oh, nice. And the mayonnaise is awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I do have, I think I do have the vegan cheese recipes in there. Yep. Good. So now I'm going to add my kale to it. Just gonna wait a little bit longer so I get more flavor from my mushrooms, caramelizing nicely. Because I have to add water again in order to steam the kale. You see how much this is? It's crazy, huh? How much this is. It's quite a lot. I'm going to add just a little bit of salt to it. And I use these Himalayan salt, which is by far not as salty as table salt. Table salt I cannot recommend. This is not good for you. This is Himalayan salt is, in my opinion, the only salt what probably has the best nutrients. I mean nutrients in a way that these days, even if you buy sea salt, it already has microplastic materials in there. So you want to make sure that if you eat with salt, have the poorest source of salt. A bit more water. Again, you can cook with broth if you like. And this was organic. If you buy regular kale, you can get a lot more than this. My soup is cooking. little bit more water to the black bean soup. Okay. You see, I'm cooking everything so that everything is going to be ready at the same time. The rice is maybe 5 more minutes. It should be ready any minute. The soup is almost ready, and my kale is ready in about a few minutes. And that's it. Okay. Okay, almost there. See how my kale looks. I don't know if you have the light here. So it's very nutritious. Kale is one of the only vegetables you can literally cook for over half an hour, and it still has all the nutrients in there, which is incredible. I mean, I don't recommend it cooking it that long, but good. Let's see how it tastes. Cook a little bit longer. Could use a little bit more cumin. That's it. The rice is ready. That's it. The rice is ready. Soup is almost there. Not yet. My kale is almost ready. So I'll steam a few more minutes. That's it. What is the calling? What is the dish called? Okay. What I'm cooking now is black bean soup, and I'm cooking white rice with beans, and I'm cooking sautéed kale with onions, mushrooms, and peppers. And I'm going to top my rice later on with the kale, so it becomes a complete dish. Meaning complete dish, it has a complete protein. Yeah. You see, this is not a salad. That's I saw a comment as a salad, but this is what I'm going to. Light is not very good here. That's what I'm going to top my rice with. Let me get my plate. Okay, my kale is ready. Rice is ready. Soup is taking a sweet time. Okay. Yeah, I see Justin is wanting to try the spelt pizza. Yeah, try it. Let me know how you like it. You see, that pizza in is not a regular bistro. This is a quick fix, so to speak. You know, when your kids are saying, "Hey, you know, I'm in the mood for pizza," and it's going to take too long to make a yeast dough. So that dough is perfect. You just mix the flour, and that's, I believe, is made with buckwheat flour. You add your baking powder to it and all the other ingredients, and you roll it out and you bake it. That's it. There's no rising, nothing. It's perfect. And that is another meal, a family meal, what is super cheap and so exciting for kids to eat because first of all, it's done in no time. The kids could actually help, and you can top it with anything you like. So it's from that point of view, it's a really nice dish, especially for families and for kids. Deb is saying, I think we should go all to Justin's house for a dinner party. His stuff always looks like he's been taking lessons from chef. You know, I think he, you know, Justin, he was already a culinarian, so Justin is doing pretty well. Anjana is asking if there's a video cutting skills. I'm going to add it to my to one of the modules in the membership. My soup is almost ready. Okay, so I'm going to serve the rice now. So you have an idea. So this is how my rice looks. Hope you can see it here. Okay, it should stay a little bit longer covered, but I'm going to use it right now. So this is my starchy vegetables. Now I'm going to add my green leafy vegetables and my non-starchy vegetables. So that's basically, that's a dish what is very, very cheap and it's very nutritious. And that's really a small portion. But you see what I cook, that's even enough for 3, maybe even 4 people. But again, if you would cook for a family of 5 or 6, you just have to double up the recipe. And it's not going to be more than $10, $12. But it's very, very nutritious. And for all those family members who cannot eat without a piece of chicken, you just add a piece of chicken to it. That's fine. But be assured that this meal is nutritious and it's going to keep you well for the rest of the day. Okay, Devonda, this is not white rice. This is brown rice. Let me show you. I'm not going to make it up. See here? There's brown rice. So I don't use white rice. It's probably the light in here. The soup is almost getting there. You see, you have to let the soup cook until all the starch comes out of the beans, so the soup becomes a little creamier. What you can do is with your black bean soup. You see, right now it's not creamy at all. I don't know if you can see it. I just added water to it. But what you can do is you can use half or a third of your black bean soup and put it into a blender, and then you add it back to your soup. So you have a mixture of creamy beans and some regular beans. So you have some texture in there, but my Siri just started to act up. I don't know why. Didn't even call it. So by mixing it in a blender, you have a little bit different texture to your soup. Okay. Okay. Really? I misspoke. I'm sorry. I said white rice? My bad. Sorry. No, it was brown rice. Yeah, definitely. I would never cook with white rice. Unless I would cook arborio rice. If I would do a paella or risotto, yes, then I would cook with that rice. Yeah, you can. I'm just answering Justin's questions. I mean, he's saying thank you for the complete protein. Usually, you add. I mentioned it before. 2 different vegetables become 1 complete protein. But here's the thing: if you would talk to a nutritionist or someone who a dietitian, he or she would probably tell you, yeah, that's not 100% correct. But if you, for instance, if you eat in the morning, you eat your hummus, that is almost complete. Then for lunchtime, you're going to eat your rice and beans. So your body stores incomplete proteins until the right protein comes your way, and then combines them and then uses them. This is how the body works. And so when I say you eat 2 different vegetables, it becomes 1 protein. In most ways, yes. But even if the meal is not 100% complete, with your next meal, your body combines the incomplete protein from the morning with the protein what you eat for lunch or for dinner. So that becomes complete protein. So that's why you don't have to worry that you don't eat nutritious. Okay. Oh yeah, parsnips are great. Absolutely, definitely. Barbara's asking if parsnips are great. Absolutely, yeah. They are coming now in season, and it's perfect. We cook a lot with them. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Justin is saying he was reading about quinoa and farro this week. Which do you favor, or are they ideal at separate times? They are ideal, both of them ideal. Absolutely. You can use farro or quinoa, doesn't matter. They're both excellent. Excellent. And quinoa is a complete protein. So from that point of view, you don't have to worry. This is great. This is where But I'm always talking about the 1/3 starchy vegetables, the 1/3 non-starchy, and 1/3 green leafy vegetables. As long as you do that, you have a good picture, a good nutritious picture, and you feed your body all the nutrients you need. Even if you would eat every day the same meal, even then, it's just absolutely amazing. But use good ingredients. For instance, a great starchy vegetable is sweet potato. Then green leafy vegetables, any green leafy vegetables, and then 1/3 non-starchy vegetables, which could be mushrooms, peppers, onions, celery, squash, all these things. If you mix them all together, you have a fantabulous meal. So that's very, very important. What kind of pan I'm using now, Devendra is asking. I'm using really, to be honest, very, very simple pan. I don't even know where I bought them. These are no name brand. I'm embarrassed, but that's what I'm cooking right now, because I'm usually not that often here, and I just have some basic pans. Usually I cook in New York, and I have my whole set of pans, but here I have just a basic set of pans. So very, very basic pans I'm cooking in. I do have Le Creuset, but it was too big for this right now. What kind of pan are you talking about? Well, all these pans are no-name brands. They're no-name brands. I bought them in a supermarket. Nothing spectacular. Oh, sorry. I don't know when you guys talk to each other. So, good. Okay. I think you see, now the soup becomes creamier. The longer you cook, the creamier it gets. I don't know if you can see it, but so it still needs a few more minutes to cook. So you constantly have to replenish the water. Oops, there was too much. But the end product is going to be even better. Okay, so that's it for me. I think. Let me see if I mention everything. I wanted to touch base on pickles, for instance. That is another way of cooking for a large family, because pickles are very, very expensive in this country, and you could make your own. They're so much cheaper. So whether you do dill pickles or you pickle your own vegetables, doesn't matter what it is, your onions, your carrots, your peppers, it doesn't matter. It's very, very simple, and it's a fraction of the price what you would pay if you buy them by the glass. And I know a family of 5, 6, 7 people, they would eat quite a lot of pickles if you like them. And for instance, if you want to make your own pickles, you use 1 part of water, 1 part vinegar, 1 part salt, 1 part maple syrup, and then you add a pickling seasoning to it. You add maybe a sprig of thyme, a sprig of dill, and garlic clove, and that's it. And you're good to go. You boil it, then you pour it over the vegetable. You let the vegetable sit for an hour or so, and they're ready. They're ready to go. So these are quick pickles. And what was that? And so these are very, very simple recipes. And I guess I think for a large family, it only makes sense to make your own food. Okay, so I think you're welcome, Sue. Thank you. She's saying looks delicious. Toss it in a blender. Yes. Give the broth more thickness. Absolutely. I don't have a. Actually, I do have a blender. I could put it in there. Yeah, I could do that. Added too much water into there. That's the problem. So that's about a third. I'm gonna put it in the blender. Okay, I wanna leave some kind of. You have to be careful when you use NutriBullet because it becomes under pressure. So you see, I pureed it. I add it back to the soup. And now my soup has creamy consistency and still texture because of the whole beans in there. And that's a perfect soup. So when you pour it in a cup, taste it first. I like a little bit more salt. And you can add a little bit of Tabasco or hot sauce, whatever your heart desires. So I add a little bit of chulo. Okay. Beautiful. So that's that. I don't know if you can see it. Difficult. Obviously, I only made soup for myself. If you would cook for yourself, then you use the recipe, which is under soups. And the recipe asks for 3 cans of beans. I use only 1 can of beans. So let me show you. It's getting hot. Okay, that's my black bean soup. Okay. Are there any questions? I think that concludes my cooking for a large family. Obviously, there are many, many more applications, many, many more recipes. For instance, as I mentioned before, lasagna is perfect for a large family. It's cheap. You can use very cheap ingredients. You can make a vegan bolognese, which consists actually of mushrooms. You chop the mushrooms so small that they look like ground beef. You cook them, you saute them, you caramelize them, and literally at the end, they look and almost taste like ground beef. So it's beautiful. There's many more things you can cook for a large family. I will address this. If you would like to hear more or like to see more about these type of cooking, just let me know, and I'll throw in another episode of Cooking for a Large Family on a budget. Okay. Okay, Devonna is asking something. How long do you cook the soup in an Instant Pot? Haha. In an Instant Pot. You see, I use boiled beans. If I would cook it on a pressure cook, maybe 2 minutes on pressure cook, maybe 3 minutes. But if they were whole beans, no, then I would cook them for 12 minutes about. Maybe 14, yeah, 12 minutes should be good. And then, I always boil the whatever I cook in an Instant Pot under pressure, I always bring it to a boil afterwards. The same if I would do it in for slow cook, I always bring it to a boil, because there's the pressure cook cooks it, but it's not the same if you cook it up, bring it to a boil again and then season it and make it complete. Is that the question you're referring to, Justin? I love soup with dumplings. Do you have any recipes for dumplings? No, I don't. I have to look into it. It's really not that difficult. Dumplings is just water and flour. So in Germany, we have quite a lot of dumplings. You could actually make a dumpling from potatoes, so which is really not bad. I got to look into it. It's a good question. How do you remove radicchio bitterness or cook it? You see, usually you can remove the bitterness by adding lemon juice to it. But as soon as you cook something, the bitterness usually goes away. If you add lemon juice to it, it goes almost away. But the bitterness has an incredible health benefit to it. So any vegetables that are bitter, I would not recommend removing it, because this helps you clean your blood and reduce your A1C and all this stuff. So bitter vegetables are very good for you. Very good. Okay. Yes, I would like to see the lasagna recipe. Actually, Arifa, the recipe, I believe it's in the recipe module. I got to make sure it's in there. Yes, Justin is saying cooking on a budget. Okay, great. Now that you said lasagna, we want the recipe. Okay, let me make sure that I have the recipe in my recipe module. Some German recipes. Okay, that's a challenge, because most German recipes are meaty recipes. We are famous for sausages, for pork. We do have excellent soups. We have excellent soups. Many of these are cooked with pork, but we can omit the pork. But we do have great soups, very, very good soups. Do you have any recipes that use fresh pumpkin? Yes, Linda. This is one of the things I want to focus on next Thursday. That's for sure, because pumpkin is coming into season, and I will add some recipes into the modules. Do you eat radicchio raw? Yeah, absolutely, all the time. Yeah, that's good. And I'm still looking for bitter melon. I know that Liana was asking for bitter melon, and I'm looking for those. As soon as I find them, I will make a recipe, and I'm going to cook it. Okay, it seems everyone likes lasagna. Maybe I'll make another lasagna, because last time I cooked a lasagna, and it was a very traditional lasagna, but I think this time I cook one lasagna made with maybe eggplant layers, zucchini layers, what else? Spinach, and I think I'm going to do that. Is there such a thing as a vegan cracker? Well, I believe that most crackers are vegan. I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but a lot of crackers are vegetable based. For instance, I think the water crackers, I think they're plant based, but I'm not sure. I know my wife likes to eat them. Let's see. Yeah, no, they're all made with milk. So yeah, so I don't know. You really have to look for those. I'm sure they have them. Can you post the recipe on page? You're talking about the lasagna? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, everyone is wants the lasagna. Okay, great, very good. What else we have? Now that you said lasagna, we want the recipe. Okay, good. Maybe, you know, maybe I can cook it this Sunday. Let's see. I depending on the menu I'm going to create for next week, maybe we'll add it to it. I never had bitter melon, but I've seen at Indian groceries. I just want to give you an idea how powerful bitter melon is. Whenever I go to the doctor for my blood levels, and I wasn't good with my dietary eating. Maybe I had a glass of wine the night before or whatever. So I would eat bitter melon. Then the night before I go to the doctor, and my blood results always came out stellar. I mean, the guy, he was just puzzled. How do you do that? How do you keep all the blood levels at the lowest level and not even close to any area where it's not supposed to be? So bitter melon really does clean you up. Yeah, Deb is saying she loves the Ritz crackers, but stopped buying them many years ago due to all the other ingredients. Yeah, they're packed with processed foods. Packed. Can you make your own crackers in a dehydrator? You probably can. Probably can. I gotta research this. I've never done this. Yeah, tamari black sesame crackers sounds great. Okay. Anything else? Let's see if I missed anything. Yes, sweet potato. Excellent. Yep. Actually, my cheese sauce is made with sweet potatoes. So from that point of view, it fits perfect. Yeah, Linda's saying a lot of cracker. No. And Jana is saying a lot of crackers are made with white flour. Yeah, that's the problem. So you want a whole wheat cracker. Karela, yeah. And Jana is saying bitter melon is also called Karela, absolutely, and found in Indian stores. Yeah, I actually grow my own Karela all the time, but this year I didn't. Yes. Good. Actually, that's great, Jackie. Very good. She made her own raw vegan crackers. That's cool. Maybe you can share a recipe. It would be nice. Okay. Yes. I will work on a recipe, the lasagna recipe, and I'll post it in the module. Okay, good. So I think I don't want to keep you any longer. We already 1.5 hours. I truly appreciate you guys sticking so long with me. Really appreciate it. And again, if you have any kind of suggestions, what you want me to cook, then please let me know. Okay, Mary says there is a recipe. Okay. If a person can't find bitter melon fresh, do supplements works or powder? That's a good question, Candy. I have no. There are supplements for bitter melon, I believe, and it's usually you get it in green powders, but green powders are very, very potent. So I don't know. I have my my brother-in-law. He's working for the FDA, and he said you have to be a little cautious with green powder. So I'm not sure if that's the right way to go. It's always better to use fresh products, produce. Always better. Okay. The Beth is saying the experience website. I don't know what you're referring to. Thank you, Debbie. Absolutely. Anjana is saying bitter melon is good for diabetes. That's what I'm saying. You know, it cleans up your blood. It's perfect for that. It reduces your A1C. And actually, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I believe that bitter melon, the compounds of bitter melon is used in chemo. Don't hold me to it, but certain compounds of bitter melon is used in chemo in very, very high amounts, very, very high amounts. So actually, a lot of plant-based ingredients are used in chemo, and I don't know what they're using exactly, but if you eat your own fresh vegetables and you use bitter melon and you use fresh, nutritious vegetables, you can prevent a lot of diseases so that you hopefully never have to use chemo. Okay, Beth is saying recipes. What I was asking about, let's see. Okay, good. Yeah, I got it. Okay. Okay, Deb is asking, what does bitter melon taste like? It is so bitter, it's not funny anymore. It's very, very bitter. I can eat it just like that, and I don't have an issue with it. But when you eat it for the first time, you're gonna tell me, Chef, how can you serve this to someone? It's very, very bitter. But it all depends how long you cook it. The longer you cook it, the less bitter it becomes. If you use lemon juice in there, the bitterness goes away. I like to cook it just like any other vegetable, saute it for a few minutes, but I like to add other vegetables to it so you get a little mixture in there and more nutrients in there. So from that point of view, you can cook it like any other, like a vegetable stew. So what does bitter melon taste like? Okay. I would say, what does it taste like? It's difficult to really pinpoint that vegetable. I would say it's just like a powerful zucchini. It has more texture, but it's extremely potent. So that's how it tastes. Would bitter melon be like rhubarb? Yeah, sort of, but a little different. Rhubarb is sour. It's not bitter. Rhubarb is sour. Bitter melon is bitter. Both are very healthy, very, very healthy. Bitter melon with onions and tomatoes are yummy. See, Anjana? Nice. Yep, absolutely. Okay, soak in 2 hours in water. Yeah, but the thing is, if you soak it in water, you are actually drawing all the nutrients out of the bitter melon. I wouldn't do it if I were you. I wouldn't do it. Just cook it the way it is to keep all the nutrients in. Okay. Okay. I think I answered all your questions. Let me know if there's something else. And for all you who are in the membership, I will see you again Sunday afternoon for the batch cooking, 4 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday. And let's see, something else. Ooh, yeah. Then we have our group coaching, which is tomorrow. Everyone who signed up for the group coaching, we will meet tomorrow, I think at 7 p.m. Eastern time. But I will send out an email to everyone who is in the group coaching. So I'll see you guys, okay? Thank you so much. And see if there's something else what I missed. Deb is saying in this specialty store, something in a regular grocery store. No, I don't think you get it in a regular grocery store. Sometimes. But it's best to go into a specialty store or organic stores. Okay, guys, thank you very much. I kept you long enough. Thank you for staying with me. And have a good Thursday afternoon. And I'll see you this weekend. Okay, have a good day, everyone. Bye.